And we are live. This is Travis from Carter Cal Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. This is another episode of Trade with Travis. Thanks for being able to pop in with me and being able to subscribe to all of our networks, including Trade with Travis on YouTube and Expert Advisor Reviews on YouTube as we go through and being able to take a look at certain pairs that we can be able to trade and be able to make money off of. Hopefully, everybody's doing very well. Last week, we only ended up doing two sessions because at this particular point, we are getting close to um, finals and everything else like that for the school year. So I think y'all know that obviously my day job is teaching. So there's sometimes where I'm just not able to be able to do the certain things that we end up doing each and every morning. But hope everybody's doing very well. Let's go ahead and get through the disclaimer. And then after that, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education. And from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. And understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. All right. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is show my face on the screen and make sure everybody else is good as we end up going through this. And let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Hope everybody's doing very well. What we're going to do is go for about 20 to 25 minutes, be able to take a look at some overall trading pairs, see if there's any opportunities to be able to get in. The market was kind of slow last week until the end of the week. Once the market ended up making moves, and it's the 15th, which means that it's the third week of the month. Typically, the third week of the month, that's when you end up seeing a little bit more fundamental days throughout the overall week. So, currently, right now, let's see what we have, and then after that, we'll kind of jump from there and kind of put everything else into perspective. Today, there's really nothing to be able to pay attention to. We got Fed Bosick and Fed Kaskari going to end up speaking on Tuesday. Going to end up being our first fundamentals day of the week, where we're going to end up seeing Australia end up having some news. Great Britain end up having some news. The Eurozone, United States has retail sales. Uh, Canadian dollar has a few things, and then after that we have GDP from Japan. So everything's starting to look like it's starting to move to a certain position, or it's starting to fill out when it comes down to news. Wednesday it's going to end up being light. Thursday it's going to end up being somewhat light aside from the morning, and then after that on Friday we're going to end up having retail sales from Canada, and then after that Jerome Powell is going to end up speaking at the end of the day uh, when it comes down to the market. So um, action-packed news is going to end up being on Monday and Tuesday. I think Monday is probably going to end up being a light day compared to what's going to end up happening on Tuesday. We just have to keep that in mind as we go through and be able to take a look at our pairs. And then after that, we'll kind of jump in and kind of figure out what's going on with the overall major opportunities between all of them. So let's talk about what ended up happening. I have Bitcoin on my screen first, and we can start off with Bitcoin first, because it's going to end up matching up with what we ended up talking about last week. So the plan was this last week. We've seen that the market ended up rejecting off 29,000, and the thought process was that if it's going to end up falling within its overall blue zone, it's going to fall back down to support before being able to make a move. So catching it between anywhere between 26,500 and 25,000 would probably end up being the best way to be able to get in. And then after that, we'll kind of see if this will be one of the last positions that you can be able to get in clearly without having to fight with anybody and being able to get good value before I believe that this market is going to start being able to start making a push toward the 30s and everything else like that. So currently right now, what I'm looking at is this market end up rejecting, and we have a counter trend line break at this particular point. I'll be very much interested in being able to jump in if we can be able to see a counter trend line break entry off of this. So I'm going based off of the hour right now. We can see that we have this counter trend line break. The market was bearish until this market ended up breaking up to the upside from here. It had a breakout, it had a retest, and then currently right now we can see that the market is a little bit overbought from an hourly perspective, but there's a chance that the market could continue being able to go bullish. Now, completed a hourly D extension, which means that I do expect that the market is going to end up retracing. And if we go back to where the A, B, C, and D is, remember from B to C is going to end up being the new A and B. So I believe that what's going to happen is that this market, if it does do anything, it'll probably end up falling down back to A little bit of this resistance point probably won't break below the B, and then after that, keep on moving from this movement. So I believe something like this now is going to end up happening. You had to break out, you're going to end up having a retest right around this area, and then after that, we're going to see a little bit of a pop up toward the upside from there. So that's the trade that I'm looking for. If you did not get in based off of the market being able to find support at 26.5, that would be the area where I look at being able to get in and start being able to make a move on Bitcoin as it's going through consolidation once again before being able to make a pop. So there we go with Bitcoin. That means to me that the United States dollar has been a little bit weak or was strong last week and it's starting to show a little bit of signs of weakness this week. And the only way we can be able to find that out is by being able to take a look at the United States dollar index. As we take a look at the United States dollar index, obviously we can see that the market ended up popping up. Now we go to the weekly and kind of take a look at all this information. We knew that the market was in consolidation and it fell down to support. And we end up basically not questioning, but we end up saying as long as this market ends up staying above this magenta or this pink trend line, that the market would be bullish. It stayed down here for a couple weeks, and being able to find support. And I think now this is probably one of those times where we had a breakout and we're just retesting on this breakout, and we're starting off the week at the top of this overall move, which means that we can see a little bit of a retracement, but ultimately I think that the market or the United States dollar is going to start being able to move up to the upside and being able to make a move from there. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm seeing. Just from a weekly perspective, we look at it from a daily perspective, we see that we end up having a major push up to the upside. The market has rejected at the halfway point of this consolidation. And from there, we want to see if this market is going to end up holding on and allowing this candlestick area right here to be the natural support, which means that this thing may end up falling back to the halfway point, if at all, and then after that starting to push back up. But I don't think it'll fall back down to support. So that's something that I'm looking for. We can start to see that there's a built out consolidation within consolidation. So if you want to catch this market, you have to catch this market at the breakout of this zone, which is 12,860, or being able to see if this market would fall down to support again. Now, if it falls down to support again, that kind of goes with the thought process that I believe that Bitcoin is going to end up making a little bit of a push. If it stays to the downside, then that means that obviously what I end up saying about Bitcoin is probably not going to end up happening. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Let's take a look at oil. Oil has been one of those trading pairs that we haven't traded at all, really, this year. Essentially, what ended up happening was that the market ended up having a very tight consolidation from 82.50 all the way down to $72 a barrel. The market ended up falling from $72 a barrel, and then after that, ended up finding new supports at $64 a barrel, pushed back up to 82, and currently right now it looks like it's falling back all the way down to $64 a barrel currently right now. Because it's in the middle of consolidation, it's really no move to be able to take to feel comfortable right now from a swing trader perspective. Maybe from a scalper's perspective, you may want to look at selling, but me personally wouldn't look at being able to do anything off of oil at this particular point. The Canadian dollars just hasn't been there this year. Yeah, it just hasn't been there this year for its overall pairs that I would be interested in being able to trade unless you're catching them at support and resistance. You're a long-term player like that, and yeah, it makes sense to do that. Last one, let's take a look at gold. Take a look at what's happening with gold. Gold ended up pushing up to 2070, ended up fulfilling that overall area that we ended up talking about for the last 2.5 years, or 3 years of where this market ended up popping. Remember, 2020, it got all the way up to 2070, then after that rejected, fell all the way down to 1680, and then after that popped right back up. And since then, the market has been doing pretty much the same. This is the time where it has rejected, and we're trying to find support at 2010. If it holds that support at 2010, then this market could pop out of this zone and keep on going bullish. But I don't have that much faith in it as of yet. I believe that what we'll probably see is a little bit of a retracement first. And then after that, look at being able to go from there. Now, remember, this kind of matches up what we talked about with the United States dollar index anyway. If this market keeps on falling, then that means that the United States dollar is going to end up getting stronger, which means that Bitcoin is going to end up getting weaker, which means that we take a look at what happened with the United States dollar index and how it's in consolidation, that it may end up falling back inside of that consolidation point that we talked about just earlier with the United States dollar index. But this is somewhat of a breakout, had a retest. We're currently right now at the retest point. As long as the market does not break consolidate, as long as the market does not break this trend line, then I will not be interested in being able to buy. If it breaks to the upside and it starts to be able to go, especially by Tuesday, then after that, I think that you have a move that you may be interested in being able to take from there. Other than that, I'm just going to stay away from this as well. That means that we're 0 for 4 when it comes down to being able to find tradable pairs. Take a look at the indexes, and then after that, hopefully, we might end up finding something. Take a look at what's happening with Dow Jones going into this morning. Um, really haven't traded this all that much over the course of the last month, because if you notice, going back to what I ended up saying before, everything's in a tight consolidation. Whether if it's 1,000 points here, 1,000 points there, really the only time that you can be able to make money off of this is whether if you're buying at that support or selling at resistance. Market end up falling to support right here. We end up making a big push all the way up here. Market end up going up to resistance. From resistance, it fell down to support. Ended up falling all the way down here, fell back into consolidation again, gave us another opportunity to be able to get right here, and then after that, push up at least to 3/4 of the point, and currently right now still being able to fall. So even though the Ichimoku cloud is saying that it's quote unquote bullish, we can see that there's a high volume node that still hasn't been broken out. And typically, remember, when the market is inside of a high volume node, you're going to end up seeing consolidation, which means that you're not going to have a move to be able to go after. So um, United States dollar index from a daily perspective is inside consolidation. We're looking for a push when it comes down to that. Now, the support of this movement is okay. Let's get rid of that. Support of this movement is all the way down to 32,540 or 32,550. We had a sell trade that was placed in um, based off of two different spots. Remember last week, sometime we ended up making money off of this movement right here. We ended up making a portion of it before it started to pop back up. Currently, right now, if we look at that same high volume node that we were talking about, we have two things that are going for us to our advantage that may end up enticing us to be able to trade. One, the support of this movement is right here. That matches up with the low volume node, or matches up with the bottom of the high volume node leading to the low volume node. Now, if this market does breaks a counter trend line break to the downside, then we could see that this market could finally fulfill that overall position of being able to fall all the way down here to that spot. Now, keep in mind what would have to happen between all of the other pairs that we end up taking a look at before. Um, from a United States dollar index, remember the correlation is this: the United States dollar index goes up, then that means that typically the Dow Jones goes down. That's typically the correlation. They typically have a negative correlation. So if the United States dollar index gets stronger, then the Dow Jones gets weaker. If the United States dollar gets weaker, then that means that the Dow Jones typically ends up getting stronger. So we're saying at the beginning of this week that we believe in most pairs. Going back to the United States dollar index and just kind of showing this one more time, we're looking at it for most pairs. We can see that the market has a built up consolidation inside of this area, and it looks like it's starting to go to a resistance from this point. So if this market does fall, then ultimately what's probably going to end up happening is that this market's going to end up pushing up. We can see a double bottom that is showing up at this particular point from right here and right here, this W move right here. Um, if this market does break out, then the position that I would probably be um, interested in being able to see what's going to end up happening from this movement standpoint would be when the market breaks above 33,600. So if I'm interested in being able to buy, I'll be interested in being able to buy above 33,600. I'll be interested in being able to sell if this market ends up breaking below this actual support right here for this line, currently right now at 33,150. And then after that, looking at being able to sell anywhere else in this little middle area, I think is nothing more than another built out consolidation that could end up happening. This market is kind of scatterbrained right now because of that. Um, we've seen an up channel go up, and I'm starting to notice that we may end up having a down channel start to happen currently right now at this point. So here goes your channel of a move right here. That is what I'm starting to see now. So all of them are showing consolidation. It is showing consolidation in a different type of way. Okay. All right. So I'm not interested in that. It looks like we're going to be sitting on the sidelines for Monday. Then after that, pay attention to what happens on Tuesday. Um, the complete opposite can be said about what's happening with NAS 100. NAS 100, we end up looking for a buy trade when the market ended up breaking out of the 13,170 area, going all the way up to 13,500. Currently, right now, the market's at 13,380 as the market is making a upside move. To that point, I did not take a trade on this one. I kind of feel this was one of the trades that I ended up saying that I felt like we'll probably end up having a better opportunity of being able to make a move. But um, the thing has been with me, especially this year, is if the opportunity is just not showing up, then I'm not pulling the trigger. There's no reason to sit up there and keep on trying to chase it. But I'm seeing a rising wedge. And typically, when you end up seeing a rising wedge when it comes down to movements like this, you got to treat it like a roller coaster. You know how you end up getting on a roller coaster and you end up hitting, you're going up on those ticks and keeps on rising. What's probably going to happen is this market's going to keep on doing this and keep on kind of consolidating out. And then at some point, it's going to end up making one sharp fall, one retest, and then after that, possibly another fall from there. So may end up seeing something like that just based off of the pattern, not based off of any other speculation, just looking at the pattern of movement at this particular point and what it actually looks like. So I'm going to put this as a light opaque, um, and same deal right here. I'm going to keep all of this kind of light as in see if I was right based off of this movement, and kind of go from there. But today, at least at this particular point, there's no trading opportunity that I would be personally interested in being able to take. So I'm just going to go ahead and move forward from there. If you like what I end up doing, if you do watch this a little bit later on throughout the day, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. It truly means a lot. Getting close to 11 people away from 1,000 followers. It ended up taking a very long time to be able to do that, but hopefully we can be able to get there, and hopefully we can be able to get a major push after that, just based off of what ends up happening over the summertime, as we end up doing each and every summer. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. I see each and every one of y'all in the next video. Everyone, y'all take it easy.